For this month's technique of the month, we're going to be working on punching. So in our first video, we're going to break down the skill and how it should be done properly for the Chuck Norris system. So we're going to start by the proper fist. We want to curl the fingers in, thumbs on the outside, and when we pull the hands back to this position, we call this a side guard. I want to pull it back so that my fists are touching my ribs, and I want my elbows to be tucked in. I don't want my elbows to flare. I want to tuck that in. Now, depending on how big or bulky your shoulder muscles may be, you may need to lower it slightly in order to not jack up your shoulder muscles, but we want to, in general, even with the solar plexus. So we're going to start with one hand at a time so we can focus on the details. When we execute our punches, I need the hand to travel in a straight line, and the hand snaps over at the very end of the technique. So when I punch, my wrist should be flat, and striking is done with the two big knuckles. So rubbing against the body with the arm helps to make sure that the elbow stays behind the hand and the punch is traveling in that straight line. If I let my elbow flare out, the power is going to go out the furthest point. So I need to keep that elbow in so that the power goes out the fist through those two big knuckles. So we're going to work one hand at a time, focusing on slow motion. So it rubs against the body all the way out, and then it snaps over at the end. And on the way back, we're going to rub and then snap up. Rubbing out and rubbing back. And the other hand the same, and rubbing back. So working them in slow motion like this, focusing on one hand at a time, is a good way to just kind of build that muscle memory. So now we're going to work the both hands. So still working in slow motion, I need both hands to travel at the same rate of speed and both hands to snap over at the end. And when I'm doing these punches, I don't want too much twisting from my chest. I want to try to keep my chest and my body nice and square. So both hands moving, both hands snapping. Thinking about getting those arms to rub against your body and snapping over at the end. So that is the proper method for punching with the Chuck Norris system. So one of the tools we can use to help make sure that we're punching in a nice straight line is a wall. So I have positioned myself right next to the wall, and this is going to prevent me from hooking those elbows on the way out or on the way back, because the wall is going to tell me if I do it wrong. So we're going to do this standing next to the wall. You can set yourself a timer, or you could set yourself a number of punches that you want to do, and we're going to make sure we train both sides. Again, focusing on keeping the chest nice and square, the wrist nice and flat, hitting with the two big knuckles. So here we go. And then we'll repeat it on the other side. There you go. Another method of working the punches is to use a mirror. This will help you work on the focus of your strikes. In the Chuck Norris system, we put the high punch at the chin, the center punch at the solar plexus, and the low punch to the belly button. So I'm going to position myself and use the mirror to help make sure that I'm hitting the correct targets. High punch, center punch, and low punch. So using a mirror is a great tool. Another method you could do is to have a partner stand in front of you, and they can call the punches for you, and you can actually focus at their body. So when using a partner, it's going to be especially important that I focus on keeping my body nice and square, because I measure off to my partner and I'm in the right range to not make contact. But if I twist my chest, then I'm going to be hitting my partner. And what I always tell my students is if you break them, I'm not going to give you a new one. So you don't want to break your partners. So I want to focus again on keeping that chest straight and only jerking the hand back and hitting with the other hand. So my partner will call the punches, and I will work the focus of the strikes.
High, high, center, center, low, low, high, low, center, high.
And that's how you can have a partner help you with your punching focus. So another method of working on the quick switch of your hands, making sure that both your hands are trading places as fast as possible, is to train with a partner. So what I'm going to do is hold my punch out, and Miss Andy is simply going to gently pinch the outside of the knuckles here. And then what I want to focus on is jerking this hand back. I want to snatch that hand away from her and get the other hand to hit and take its place as fast as possible. So instead of focusing on punching, which is kind of a slow sounding transition, I want to jerk and hit. So I'm snatching that hand away from her. Grab it tight. Okay? Another drill that can help with your quick switch is to focus on jerking that hand back and making it an elbow to the rear. So my partner's going to stand behind me with a shield, and every time I jerk that hand back, I want to think about smashing that target behind me. It's going to help me learn to move those hands really fast. Another great punching drill for you.